All right, welcome to episode 59 of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast here, Sunday morning, October 24th, week 7 here in the NFL. NBA just starting, baseball playoffs, World Series, we'll get into a little bit. Just got decided who's going to be in it anyways. Hockey started up, so a lot of everything going on over here. I'm joined by, as usual, Tyler McGurk up top there.
How you doing?
And I got Casey.
How we doing today?
What's up, boys?
What's up, fellas?
I love when a new list is created. It causes so much drama and people get their panties in a bunch. So I'm excited to go over this list.
Yeah, it's like released. And that's what you do best. You like to kind of argue with people with Twitter. I noticed a little bit more this week. You're irritating people as usual. I like it.
One guy.
Well, that guy seems to respond quite a bit to you.
He's a professional. What can I say?
No, you actually had a conversation with some other people on there, but you said at the end of it that you felt like at least a good discussion.
Yeah, they weren't arguing. It wasn't like laughing emojis and hypothetical situations the whole time.
Okay, so is that what makes the difference for you between a good Twitter discussion and a bad Twitter discussion? A hypothetical?
Yes. Yeah. Don't give me hypotheticals the whole time. And
but don't you?
That's your evidence of why a guy's better. And you have no support of your claim. He said he creates offense better. I don't even want to get into it again, but he says he creates offense better. Show me something that proves that.
Casey, let's see how many times during our top 75 argument here Tyler doesn't come up with any hypothetical.
I won't have any.
Just messing around. Hey, I was again. I wanted to thank also P Shark from the Let's Tighten Up podcast, Let's Be Real podcast, for coming on after that Monday night game. Yeah, that was I was thinking about that. It was like 11 o'clock almost his time there, so that was pretty cool of him to come on for 25 minutes there and hang out with us and talk Titans football and some other things. So I just wanted to shout out their podcast came out yesterday. I think they're on like episode 153. And they do a little bit of discussing. I watched the first 30 minutes of it. They did a little discussing there on Ben Simmons. So check that out if you guys got time. And obviously check out our podcast with them too.
I appreciate the shout out from P Shark, man. That's cool, man. Check out our podcast. I appreciate it. I wasn't on there with him to discuss what you guys are talking about, but definitely check it out. And he knows what he's talking about. That's a good podcast you guys did together.
Yeah, and it's good to have people on do the other podcasts too, just to kind of get their knowledge on things and their experience with it. Nick texted me. He's like, I like the Steve McNair picture in the background there. So that was good. All right, we'll get to NFL a little bit later here, but I kind of wanted to quickly get on to MLB real quick. We got the World Series set. We got the Astros versus the Braves. Somehow my pick of the Braves, I believe, Tyler, your pick of the Braves made the World Series. It wasn't looking good for about 4 months of the season. I had Braves versus Yankees. That's what I had.
I think I might have nailed it with Braves Astros.
You might have.
I said I wanted to piss people off and go with the Astros.
We need to go back and replay that, I guess.
We do need to make sure, but I'm pretty sure.
So if that's the case, well done. But we got the World Series set. The Dodgers Braves actually played a pretty entertaining series. Last night's game, I watched all of it from the 6th inning on, and it was an entertaining game. This Madzik guy came in the 7th inning and was just nasty for 2 innings. I mean, just throwing darts as a lefty and then just dropping curveballs. I think he struck out his first 4 guys that he faced. And when he came in, there was a runner on 2nd and 3rd in the 7th inning, and Pollock had just hit a double to make it 4-2. So it's not like he didn't come in a stressful part of the situation either. And the thing with the Braves that makes it amazing to me is that Casey, they lost their best player. Well, maybe their best player, one of them, their most electric player for sure, in Acuna Jr. Did you check out any of the series or the game last night?
Yeah, I've been following it. I've been following the postseason a lot, actually. That was a hell of a game last night. It was just fun to watch. I mean, I texted out for Tyler, tweeted out, I should say, Dr. Fodgers. And, I thought he'd appreciate that because he's been all over.
I appreciated it greatly. Big laugh.
I like how you guys went duck. That's the best.
That's what Tyler been saying, so I had to follow it.
You've told me to cut back on my cussing. I'm trying to help.
But, Eddie Rosario, man, what a beast, right? I mean, people get hot, but that was muy caliente. Like
2
he
outs.
was fuego, dude. Like it was crazy. Yeah, just when he came up against that at bat against Walker Buehler, I can't remember. I think it was the 4th inning, I believe. I could be mistaken, but I believe it was the 4th, and it's 1-1. And he was down like 0-2 in the count and battled, and just cranked that 3-run homer. I was like, man, gosh, like that place went wild. Like it was nuts. But it was really cool. It was really cool to see Atlanta get hyped like that. It's been a while. I believe I was reading Tom Glavine was like the last one, I believe, that win World Series MVP for them. And I believe 1996 or 95. I could be mistaken, but it's been a while for the Braves. So much
Against the Indians.
96.
They beat the Indians. And who is their closer? Jose Mesa. They beat the Indians in that World Series.
Omar Vizquel still gets beat every time he faces Jose Mesa until they both retired.
I know that's always funny to me. Low-key knowledge there about baseball. The Braves, Rosario, then he almost goes deep in the 8th inning there. He hits like a bullet to the warning track. The baseball's been pretty good. The World Series now, Tyler, let's get into the Astros a little bit. Alvarez, we've been saying
the Braves acquired Eddie Rosario for Pablo Sandoval.
They got a lot of guys at the deadline.
What a terrible
trade. Guys.
Yeah, Acuna went down and they acquired 4 outfielders. They got Soler.
That's why baseball's funny like that. Do you believe, I kind of believe that the Dodgers, I mean, they were getting beat up at the end injury wise. I'm not making excuses, but what my point is even the Giants might have had a harder time against the Braves, because do you believe anything that the Braves had an easier first round, the Brewers, they were fresher? Was there anything to that?
I don't buy into that stuff. The Giants lost to the Dodgers. The Braves beat the Dodgers. So who cares what would have happened?
And the Braves have like really good talent on their team. You can't underrate that. I mean, just their pitching sometimes a little unknown with Freed and Anderson and some of their other guys and their bullpen guys. Astros. Go ahead.
So that's what I wanted to get into with you guys, honestly. And I was texting you a lot last night. I'm so tired of like people making mistakes or just.
I'm not making an excuse.
Excuses for the Dodgers. Like TBS was just whining. I was like, I felt like they just wanted ratings for like all of MLB. Like, oh, the Dodgers aren't in it. Like Trevor Bauer got suspended. Max Scherzer had a dead arm. Muncy was injured, and it's just like that's sports, man. It happens all the time. Like I'm just so like tired of like we're Warriors fans. Klay Thompson got injured. Kevin Durant got injured. It happens. It's part of sports. Like that's just how life is. Like. Whoever you're playing at that time, that's what happens. So I was watching that post game and I was infuriated watching this. Like Bob Costas, I was just like, man, I can't do it. Like I changed the channel. I was like, I'm just tired of all these.
What was frustrating you that they were making an excuse that was illegitimate? I mean, Muncy would have helped. I mean, like they had pitchers that were hurt. I mean, of course these guys would help, but of course, you know what I mean.
It's a tradition like no other. The Dodgers fall apart after 162 game season.
Let me get into the Astros real quick because they're the team that to me is the favorite. Like Alvarez is just unreal, and he proved it in their lineup is stacked. Bregman and they got Correa is just clutch. Altuve, I said I'd want him up like maybe number 2 with a runner on second base and 2 outs, giving me him. Give me Soto 1. I'll take Altuve number 2 there. Tyler, quick thoughts on the Astros making it to the World Series, the matchup maybe in general.
Their starting pitch is good, but it can be beaten, can be hit around. Their lineup depth is just crazy. You add like Brantley and then you'll Gonzalez. What was Yuri? What's his last name?
Uriel.
Yeah, Uriel. And then they just a good hitting team 1 through 9. Their bullpen can be a little shaky, but it's good too. They're gonna be tough to beat. I think they're better than the Braves, and I think they'll win in 6.
I think it's gonna be a great World Series because both bullpens are like a little unknown. I know Magic looked unreal last, but you know, like there's some a little uncertainty to some other guys in the league, right? In both those teams right there. Yeah. Their starting pitching's been vulnerable at times. I like Max Fried, but he's been hit a few times too. And those bullpens are those ballparks are definitely hitter-friendly ballparks. So
the Braves do have 3 dominant lefties coming out of that pen with Matt Zick, Will Smith as their closer, and then Minter. So I watched that and man, do not pitch Jackson. God, dude, I was like, what?
They're like Cool Hand Luke.
Cool Hand Luke was getting rocked.
Yeah, Brian Snicker, the Braves manager, tried to give that game away by bringing in Cool Hand Luke.
He tried, but he took him out at the right time. He took him out right before Paul could hit.
He only had a choice because you have to face 3 guys. He took him out after 3.
True. Well, anyways, that should be a good World Series. I'm really looking forward to that one. And then we got locally here, we got all these teams playing. The Raiders don't count anymore, I guess, in terms of the local team, but I still think of them. But we have baseball going on. You got the Sharks 4-0. I know my dad and your brother is probably a little bit happy about that. My dad, I talked to my dad a little bit yesterday. For those Sharks fans, he's very impressed with Carlson early on. So that's the inside knowledge from a Sharks fan for the last 8 years. He's very impressed with Carlson on the defensive end, Tyler. Hopefully your brother has some thoughts you can leave on the comment section there for us. For some
Sharks. Leave a like and a comment, right?
We got to be able to get our Sharks $1. What was the joke about the Sharks? They don't get the ratings. They don't get the I read the caviar. They don't get the ratings. They don't get the ratings.
I was impressed with Dad's knowledge on the Sharks, man. I was like, man, it's going.
Well, yeah, if you watch every game for the last 8 years, you should have some knowledge on that. All right, let's get into the NBA here. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with our top 75 list. We got some good questions, some players that shouldn't be on there, and some fun facts I think you guys will enjoy about the list. All right, we'll be back. All right, we're back here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. All right, gentlemen, got through the World Series talk there. NBA top 75. Really like the idea of this list. Has caused just a lot of good banter, I feel like, on Twitter. We got some good followers there that really know how to talk about it, and it's really fun. And just the list in general, looking at some of the old names and some of the names you knew about, but you kind of forgot about it the same, some sense. And then there's some that, a few of them we're going to get into that we were kind of maybe a little shocked at. Maybe they're not bad players, but, there were some decent players left off too. So we'll get into all that. And then I got some kind of fun facts here about the list as well that I found kind of interesting. I looked at the list, and I know we're going to get into some of the guys that are tier the bottom of the 75, I guess we'll say, which obviously isn't a bad thing, but, kind of re-looking at the list, and so many great names on that list. Was there a name you looked at and you kind of just kind of saw their stats again and were like, man, this guy was a beast. You already knew he was an automatic on the list. You're not even arguing it. You just re-looked at it. Anyone you got, T?
Mine was Elgin Baylor.
Oh, I know.
Just his numbers are ridiculous. 27.5 points, 13.5 boards, 5 assists, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA. It just just owned everybody in that era except for Wilton Russell.
Unreal stat.
Yeah, just was blown away with.
The guy that I looked at and I kind of saw the same thing, and I was like, man, those are much better stats than I would have thought. Was Julius Erving. I kind of see all his dunks, but it's 22 a game, 6.5 rebounds, 4 assists, 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 2-time, MVP and champion. I was like, I didn't even know he was a 2-time MVP as well. So, and then obviously all his ABA success. So it was just kind of fun looking at some of those guys. Casey, you have one that stood out to you that maybe you looked at?
The one that we always, he's a polarizing figure, one of the best on TV. Charles Barkley is a beast, man. So good.
It's a bad man.
We always clown on him because he's such a fool on TV, but when you actually watch, you just look at his stats, it's crazy. It's like, man, he averaged 22 and 11, or almost 22 and 12. But at that size, I love Draymond Green, but there's no chance in hell he's averaging 22 and 12. And his athleticism, when I was watching some clips, he was a lot more athletic than
oh yeah,
he gets portrayed now, obviously because he's a big guy, but he was a stud on Philadelphia.
Yeah, he was ridiculous.
Rewatch some of his games. We've rewatched 3 when we've watched them together. He's even in his old days with those Rockets, he still had those post moves that he went to. Yeah, killing J.R. Reed. That's episode 1, people, of our podcast. Go check it out. I got to go with Kareem too. just the pure like longevity stats. He played that many years and he still averaged 24.6. Like usually you're like, you play so long, sometimes those numbers go down. And he had 24-6, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 20 seasons. And also, if you look at this, 19-time All-Star, it's like a Willie Mays type thing, 15-time All-NBA, and then 11-time Defensive Player of the Year. And then just a little
11-time Defensive Player of the Year.
All defensive team, excuse me.
I was like, my God, that's a record that'll never be broken.
And just to add a little bit more to this, Tyler, a 6-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, Rookie of the Year, 2-time scoring champ, 4-time block champ, rebounding champ, and a 6-time NBA champ. So, I mean, when you look at like career stats, I know Jordan always gets the love and not LeBron, but we got to remember that guy is just like, I mean, he put up some numbers that are just silly, like not maybe Wilt Chamberlain, but right there for like playing against legit players. So, I don't know, anybody else?
Not particularly that I looked up.
All right, biggest snub. Let's get into it. Who's the guy that you feel like, you felt like, you can say who you would remove if you want to go there with it, but like who's somebody that sticks out? Let's go with Casey first. I think I know who Tyler's is.
I don't think you do.
Mine's Klay Thompson by far.
All right, same as T. You guys have a
No, that's not mine.
Oh wow, a shocker here.
To me, it's an absolute joke. Like when you put like certain guys on the list, and I'm a diehard Warriors fan. We all know this. To have Anthony Davis on that list and not Klay Thompson is just comical. I don't get it. Anthony Davis is a one-time champ. He came over. He won it in the bubble. He's been injury prone, just like Klay has been the last 2 years. Klay's a 3-time champ. Like the media cost him $30 million because of that bogus thing where they gave Kemba Walker an All-NBA team.
Not making excuses.
I mean, that's ridiculous to get even started. Klay's always overlooked. I mean, the guy had 37 points in a quarter, 60 points with like less than like 15 dribbles. I mean, he's had almost, so he's got 11,995 points. Anthony Davis has 13,518.
He is already a 4-time All-NBA. Klay's only a 2-time.
Klay's
and he's a 4-time All-Defensive team. Tyler, who do you got?
I got Howard. He just put up a decade of excellence that is just unmatched in today's like center big man game. He has like 5 All-NBAs, 10 All-Stars. He's a lightning rod now because he's not the same player, and he does get ridiculed a lot, and a lot of players hate him, a lot of fans hate him. But his numbers are there. He's like 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know how he's not on the list.
Somebody posed a question. I think it was on the Bill Simmons, but maybe it was Ryan Rosillo. What is he? Well, is there any fan base that will go back that he can go back to?
But I don't think that matters. But no
it doesn't. Not. I just posed the question to you. Is there any fan? Is there a player anymore like that doesn't have a home? Is there any player that doesn't have a home?
Definitely doesn't have a home. Maybe the Hawks would accept him back because he was only there a year, so he didn't piss everybody off. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good.
You're right. His 8-year run was pretty good. I remember that game where Mark Jackson like fouled him like 50 times or something like crazy like that. Remember that they like had nobody to guard him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he beat LeBron James when LeBron was like, at a time people thought peak of his power right there, right? So
it cost us the Kobe LeBron matchup.
It did. That was disappointing. Casey just texted me the power shut off, so hopefully you're not
my power started flickering and stuff, so I don't know what's going on. A lot of rain.
It might be a solo show here coming up there. I wanted to kind of explain the list real quick before we get to go on the stuff. So it's like, so 88 people voted on this thing, writers and some former players that it was supposed to be the 75 best players. It ended up being 76 because there was a tie. So just to make that clear, 76 players. So that's why if anybody saw this on social media yesterday, Klay Thompson had 77 jersey on. They kind of mocked him at that because Klay was pretty upset about it. I had some other snubs for you. I had Dwight Clay up there. I had T-Mac. I had Matumbo on there. I thought maybe kind of a little bit of a snub, and then Powell and Manu as well. So if you're removing one guy and adding one guy, so it sounds like you're adding. Help me out. Sorry, who did you say you were adding? Howard. Who are you removing then?
I mean, can I remove one of the original 50, or am I keeping with the same premises they have to stay?
You can remove anybody you want.
I'm getting rid of anyone who dribbles one-handed and pushes the ball out in front of them like they don't know how to dribble.
So yeah, that's where the argument comes into, like, we're the all-time, like, kind of, there's like they were the best of that era. So like some ways you kind of
exactly. That's why I asked the question. But the guys I would remove, like, that are somewhat modern would be Bill Walton, Rodman, and Lenny Wilkins.
How about Westbrook?
He's an MVP, and he has 3 triple-double seasons. Like, has Oscar Robertson done more than him? And
so there's
one of the few guys. He's one of the few guys who's over 20 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds in their whole career. Like, there's not too many guys out there that have done that.
There's 11 active players that I saw on the list. Giannis, Lillard, Leonard, James, AD, Curry, Carmelo, Durant, Harden, Westbrook, Paul. AD, Lillard, Westbrook, Carmelo to me is also kind of questionable on that list. Like, maybe I'm just naive to Carmelo a little bit more, but I never really, I don't know. I guess I don't get it as much. There's some, I mean, he's unreal at some things, but I don't know. Maybe
he didn't win enough for it. Like,
I don't know. I mean, he was a good player, but I guess was he any better than Pau Gasol? I don't think he was. I would say Pau Gasol or Manu Ginobili or Tony Parker were just as
he's better than Parker and Ginobili.
I don't know. We're forgetting a little bit how good Parker was in some of those finals games and how good he was in regular season games.
Yeah, but he got to play with Duncan and Ginobili to get him to finals games. Like, was Parker on his own getting, like, in a hypothetical, like, maybe? But yeah, you're right.
Those are who I would add.
You could put them on. I wouldn't be mad.
I also liked Alonzo Mourning. I felt like he should be on too.
Possibly. Yeah, his defense was just stellar. One guy who I haven't heard anyone mention is Chris Mullin. I don't know why he's not on. He has a 5-year run that is just spectacular.
That's one of my fun facts. He's the only member, other than obviously Leitner, that's not in this list of that 92.
I don't know.
He's the only member.
I don't know why Chris Mullin's not on.
I mean, how is he not in over like Lillard?
A lot of guys.
I thought that was funny that he was the only member, but he didn't make the top 50 either.
No, I know.
There's only 2 guys that were not in the top 50, or there's 2 guys that people thought should have made the top 50 that now made it, and one of them was Dominique and Bob McAdoo. So those were like the 2 that kind of back then got a lot of, they should be on the list. Shaq, I know at the time he was a young player, he made the list, and
he was only in the league for 5 years, and they already put him on. They got it right, but
Giannis is the youngest player on this list. So I'm glad they didn't add like a Doncic or something like that, because you can't add those guys yet. Those guys are.
I agree.
I also thought of a couple other fun facts. 22 of the 75 guys played for the Lakers or Celtics. That's the list. 2 Warriors on the list, Barry and Curry. There's some older guys too, so I didn't count those. That's the Philadelphia ones.
Will.
Yeah. Pistons and Sonics were the only 2 teams that did not have anybody on this list that won a championship. So the 1979 Supersonics, 2004 Pistons were two teams that won a championship and did not have a player on the top 75. They did have Lenny Wilkins, the Sonics, though, as the coach. So if you do want to get technical, maybe I guess that's the advantage. But he did not play for that team. There's 7 lefties on this list. I thought that was kind of out of 75, 7 of them are lefties. I thought that for our lefty lovers out there.
Yeah, that's. I'm trying to think of some. David Robinson's the only one that comes to my mind right off the top of my head.
James Harden's on there. Nate Archibald's on there. Dave Cowens is on there. I kind of wrote them down, but I forgot. I don't have that part of my list. Let me see if I can find one more on me just by looking at it. Let's see if I can.
But another guy who I think got snubbed while you're about is Yao. If you're going to include Walton, Yao had years where he averaged 25 and 12.
But I'd rather have Matumbo and Yao. And then I'd rather have
Yao had was 11-time All-Star, made an All-Star every healthy season he had. He had China voting for him like crazy. So
yeah, that's not that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt.
But yeah, he went out in like the peak of his power, like that last season again when they had our test and him against the Lakers, and then he broke his foot, and he was at his best then. So we never
I
really
thought
saw
of him
the
actually.
fall.
I actually did think of him. I wrote him down. Willis Reed was another lefty, by the way, that I just saw on there.
Is he on the list?
Willis Reed, yeah. Willis is on there. All right, a couple other things. Mullen, you took that stat from me. He's the only member of the dream team not to make it. And then Derrick Rose and Jokic, as of right now, are the only MVPs not to make the list as well. So I think Derrick Rose probably makes it over a Lillard or something like that if he's remained healthy, hypothetically, right? In our hypothetical world, if he's in there, I'm sure he's in over one of those guys at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Is Leonard's in there, right?
Yeah, Kawhi's on the team.
But you believe he's in there?
What?
You believe he's in there?
He is in there.
It was fun looking back at some of these old guys like Jerry Lucas and like Wes Unseld, like it's kind of funny like what they looked at. Go ahead, you were gonna say something.
I wasn't gonna say anything. It's just a wild list. It's so hard to do. Put like, Jokic will be on that top 100 team is what I was gonna say when the 100-year anniversary comes.
Oh yeah, Doncic.
He'll be on that. Yeah, but
Trae Young,
just an MVP who didn't make it, but yeah.
And Trae Young will be there. Who knows? Maybe Pau Gasol. Like I said, here's my guys. I got just in the list here: Powell, Clay, Manu, Weber, Grant Hill, Vince Carter, T Mac, Dwight Howard, Alonzo Mourning, Mutombo, Joe Dumars, Alex English, Tony Parker. Those are the names I had on there. Just kind of looking at stats and going through the list too. And you had you added Mullen on there. But I had him for that stat.
I have Yao, Kyrie, McGrady, Mullen, Powell, Howard, Clay, Alonzo, and then Chris Webber is the only guy I think you didn't mention.
Yeah, I know I had Weber in there too.
Okay.
Yeah, Weber definitely should be considered anyways on the list there.
Yeah, all these guys considered. I'm not saying all those guys should get on.
It's a fun little list there. It was kind of fun to kind of look through some of these names again and just debate it a little bit. The Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, those are the guys from that era that made the point guard list. Paul Pierce, I kind of was like, then I looked at his stats; they're pretty solid there. And he has that Finals MVP against Kobe.
Yeah, I looked at Kidd stats and I was like, I don't know if he should be on the list. But then I looked at like his awards and everything. And I was like, he has to be on.
Yeah, he's just one of the smartest players. You're taking him over Peyton, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
his numbers wouldn't say so. At least
you got to look at some of his defenses, like Peyton's defense too, but like and his assist game and just overall rebounding and knowledge. And he took the Nets to 2 straight finals, basically by 3? No, 2 straight finals, right? Yeah. Thank God it wasn't 3.
With no other great players like Kerry.
Thank God it wasn't
Richard
3
Jefferson, Todd McCullough.
Well, they went 1-8 in the finals against the Spurs and the Lakers. Yeah, it's tough right there. Maybe they got 2 on the Spurs, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs gave them 2. All right. Let's take let's keep going real quick. The start of the NBA. Warriors off to a 2-0 start. You got to be liking the way they're looking early on.
I'm loving Bielitsa. The belly man just makes a difference.
He looks decent.
He actually can do stuff. I didn't know he had like this little floater game, and he's a good passer. I think him like when Draymond's out, he can take over that pick and roll like spot and make some decisions and be effective. Where they can't go to that the previous couple of years when Draymond was out.
Yeah, I still think there's got to be some teams out here as they start to move through the season that will eventually take advantage of their size. But right now they're doing a really good job of keeping the spacey on offense and keeping the pace up. The Lakers, that was a matchup where they just looked a little bit old against the Warriors and kind of didn't know what to do defensively. And then the Clippers, I was impressed with the Clippers actually. This man guy is just a competitive son of a gun. I don't know. I don't know what it is about him, but I kind of like his game.
His defense after that first quarter when they put him on Steph was spectacular. I haven't seen someone guard Steph that well for a long time.
And he kind of hits timely shot. He's not like, I wouldn't consider him a great shooter. I would expect him to have some 4 for 14s out there, but like, I don't know, in moments he seems to hit a big shot though. Like, he has a timeliness to his game.
I mean, yeah, I gotta sneeze.
Oh, he's got to sneeze here. He got to sneeze here.
I mean, he eliminated Utah in
that
last game, and he hit like 8 threes. I mean, he's capable.
No, for sure. Anything else NBA wise standing out? You got the Grizzlies 2-0. You got the Timberwolves, to me, are off to a good start. They look that threesome, Russell, Cat, and the Ant-Man. They look pretty good.
I think I called that. I'm
watchable.
I brought up Cam Reddish a lot last episode, as you brought up during the episode. If you collect sports cards, you should be buying low on Cam Reddish. These first 2 games, I've seen an aggressiveness, an ability to shoot, an ability to create open shots, and an ability to finish at the rim. I don't see how this guy's not going to be at 25 points a game in like a couple of years.
And that's our weekly Cam Reddish update, everybody. Thank you. You should do that every week.
This guy sucks.
He's a loser.
But no, the first 2 games, I watch every possession he touches the ball. Like on YouTube, they have these like every time he does something, good or bad.
Yeah. And
some of his finishes are just spectacular. It reminds you of like McGrady and.
Yeah, he could just be coming on a little late. You know what I mean? Like,
with 1 year in college, he's only been in.
That's what I mean. Like years. Bradley Beal didn't come on right away. He kind of took a little time to get where he wanted to. No, I feel you on that one. I think that makes sense. I'd be interested to see how he develops with Trae Young as the lead point guard there. I would think pretty good. It should get plenty of spacing.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Bulls are off to a good start, 3-0. The Pelicans look pathetic based on their stats and numbers.
God awful.
Zion can't be there too much longer.
30 turnovers last game, career franchise record.
Don't you think Zion's out of there at some point here?
Yeah, I think everyone's out of there. The GM's out of there. The coach is going to be out of there.
Wouldn't it be funny if Zion went and played with Memphis?
I mean, it'd be a great fit.
That'd be awesome. They end up getting the number 1 pick. That just some like kind of off deal. They're like, oh yeah, we'll ship you Dylan Brooks, somebody else here. We'll give you a contract for 300-pound Williams is out of shape here. That'd be so funny. They end up with the top 2 players in that draft. Morant looks like his confidence is at an all-time high, playing wise.
Looks unstoppable.
Yeah, he looks really good right now. Portland looks pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. They ended up beating the Suns though last night, 134. Lillard was it was pretty good. Not his typical stats, 19 points, not very well. CJ 19 though, he ended up doing pretty well. Anything else in the NBA that catch your attention so far?
Just the Bulls defense. Lonzo's playing better than I ever thought he'd get. These last 2 games, it's only 2 games, so I'm not going to overreact. And then Caruso. Just have 2 guards who can handle and play defense and guard both positions, which you don't find in the NBA too often.
Hey, so is Aiden a free agent next year, or is he restricted then?
He's restricted.
Okay, yeah, that was stupid on their owner's part right there.
The Suns owner's a cheap ass.
Yeah, I heard some story might be coming out about him.
About the Suns owner?
Yeah, about him like kind of being like just.
Yeah, he's not a good owner.
Yeah, I've heard like some stories that aren't good. So I'll be interested. It'd be interesting what comes out with that. NBA, I'm glad it's back though. It's kind of fun to have it on TV. It's definitely way earlier than I'm used to, but it's fun to have the games on TV and just to check them out. It's hard not to watch them when they're on. I just enjoy the NBA. I don't know what it is.
Probably my favorite sport to watch when it doesn't involve one of my teams playing.
Yeah, no doubt. There's just like a lot of good players. It's just the pace of it. And, yeah, I like it. All right, let's take one last break here, and then we'll move on to the NFL here. We'll be back with some picks, kind of what we're looking forward to, maybe with the Niners, Colts game, Raiders, Eagles game. Anything else we got? All right, we'll be back. Final segment. All right, we're back. Final segment here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. All right, we got into a lot. We got into the World Series, got into some baseball there, we got into the NBA top 75 list. Now let's get into the NFL a little bit. Let's start right with your Niners. You got Niners Colts tonight, Sunday night, big game for your Niners. Garoppolo back in the quarterback spot. I hear a lot of wrestling from fans. I'd like to see Lance still back in, whatever. But he's got
He's
the
hurt.
Yeah, he's got the knee injury there. It's very convenient. Yeah, so we got that part of it. Then you have Garoppolo in there. Brian, we'll see how Brian reacts tonight on Twitter and texting him, see if he can keep his cool tonight. And then you got Wentz, who's playing better, but he's still, Wentz at times where he gets a little sloppy.
Turnover happy.
Turnover, yeah, he gets too aggressive. But for some reason, out of all the games this week, this is the one that I'm actually looking forward to randomly. What do you think?
Really?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of looking forward to the game.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think because both teams are flawed. And
Yeah,
both
they
teams
both
have
need
quarterbacks
to
that can make mistakes, and they both need to win this week.
No doubt.
It's hard picking the Niners. I just don't think they're very good.
Let me give you the spread here. Let me look for the spread.
It's
here.
3.5.
All right. Is that what it is?
49ers.
Yeah, I got yeah. Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah,
I think I take the Colts by spread there.
Yeah, it's going to be the Buckner revenge tour, and then we'll see.
Who
the
wins?
guard and center play has been so bad for the Niners. They can't run the ball. I want them to give the ball to Sherman. I just want them to make him the running back and play off him and see how that goes.
Yeah,
this Elijah Mitchell guy's too little for me. He's good. He could be a third down back to me, but
it sounds like every week they're debating on the radio what running back they should have. Like they have 3 or 4. Like they're just kind of rotating. It seems like because they get hurt. Something comes up or they don't like him this week or he doesn't get touches. Like who was the guy that was getting touches? Then he got 2 last week. Wasn't that
Michael or Elijah Mitchell probably?
No, it was the other guy I was thinking. But anyway, yeah, one of them didn't get it, and maybe it was Sherman.
Sherman?
Yeah, he only got 2 carries.
But he never gets carries. He's never gotten a bunch this year.
I
bring Michael Hasty back from the IR, and I have a feeling they might feature him. And I like him actually, or I've liked him in the past. I don't know if he can be a full-time back. We'll see.
I like the Colts.
I'm not optimistic about this.
I like the Colts to win this game.
I mean, I do too, to be honest. I just don't like the Niners.
The negativity
team this year. I do like Jimmy G coming back. I hope he plays well so they can leave Lance on the bench for the year. But
we'll see what happens there. Yeah, so it sounds like you're not feeling good at all. I heard nothing. I heard nothing but in your voice, but just pessimistic, just negativity there. That's all I heard.
I saw some Pro Football Focus say something about, Jimmy G started, Trey Lance must not be worth what they traded for him. And maybe he's not, I don't know. But to say he's the 4th youngest starting quarterback in NFL history. He's played 2 games. He's played 2 games in 2 years. So I'm not pessimistic on their future. It just right now it just seems like a big shithole that they're having trouble getting out of.
And they have a tough division.
No,
the division's really tough.
Yeah.
It's really hard. The Raiders, Eagles. This is like the game my Raiders lose. They win the game against the Broncos where they have the the facts.
Yeah.
the evidence against John Gruden there. It comes out a big distraction. They end up winning the game against the Broncos. This is the game then against the Eagles. They should win, right? The Eagles are they're down this year. They're not playing that great. Raiders seem to have what you would think would have a better team. And then these are the games they've lost. Do you think, am I wrong? Am I being pessimistic?
No, that's absolutely spot on. We say this every week. Well, they should win this one, but they might lose. We said it against the Bears, said it against the Broncos. It's just, I don't know. You don't know.
Gettable.
As long as you guard screen passes against the Eagles, you should be all right.
The Eagles have given up 152 points. So the Raiders should feel confident in scoring football against this team. I don't know. I just feel like where's
tough. The game at?
It's at Las Vegas.
Yeah, they should handle the Eagles.
Yeah, we'll see what happens though. The Eagles, though, weird. They're 0-3 at home, but 2-1 on the road.
Yeah, it's wild. I want to get into something you said last week though about the NFL just being
And Waller might not play, by the way.
the NFL just not being that good. There's 2 good games going into this week, and 3 if you count the Niners and Colts, which is 2 below 500 records, and it's the Bengals, Ravens, and there's one more that I can't think of. But is the NFL just have lackluster teams that it just
I think this is
bring it
what
down?
happens. We have too many teams.
I mean, every league has this many teams now, though.
You have too many teams, and then you have a lot of injuries with some of your players. I just feel like the NFL is a little bit down with a lot of their. I don't know. I just feel like the defense is so marginalized for me, anyways. It's tough for they have no chance. Like you have Aaron Rodgers saying, "I own you." Like 20 years ago, a defensive end would have took a cheap shot at him and still would have been able to play maybe the next week. You get my point? Like there's no fear as an offensive player anymore. Like
you can't touch anybody on defense.
Yeah. So the game is what it is. It's just, it's different. And it's a different type of toughness. I mean, Aaron Rodgers can literally say that to a team. Like, you think like Steve Young could have said that 25 years ago?
I think he said it more to the fans than the team, but
so you get my point. Like, you know, I own you MFers. Like that's going to get the attention the next week and the next time they play him. But
he's still going to bring attention.
Tom Brady says that. Tom Brady can come out and say, yeah, the defense, they don't get the calls as much. It's a lot easier. Like,
he did come out and say that.
Yeah, like I don't think quarterbacks would have said that a long time ago. They'd be like, oh, they think I'm being soft. Watch, there's no way. I just think that for me, that's what's ruined it a little bit. Not the cheap shots, just the defensive calls. There's too much. The PI pisses me off. It always has.
Should it be turned into a 15-yard penalty?
No, it just don't call it so much.
Fair enough.
No,
it just they need to allow the cornerbacks to be able to do something with touch receivers for more than they allow them to as far as getting off the line and stuff. It's the defensive holdings that bother me that are automatic first downs. Those are the penalties that I'm like, my God.
And I don't like how wide receivers can get away with pushing to catch a ball. Like if you're going to call,
I feel like they've done a better job though that calling it the last couple of years.
It's still BS to me. It's not even close. Like a receiver will go like this and then catch a ball. It's like, well, if a cornerback can't slightly go like that, it shouldn't be reversed. I just feel like that's the one that changes everything. That and obviously the late hits on the quarterback. Yeah, like somebody got pushed. Somebody got pushed last week. I think I saw a flag.
It was Darnold, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what push? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's definitely a softer game. It's still fun. It just I feel like there's no good games anymore. They're all not good. They're good games. There's always good games, but it's the records. There's no dominant team.
I heard. What do you think of that, Steve Young? I heard him on the radio this week. He said that the NFL now is like the NBA. You just got to watch the last 3 minutes.
Kind of is.
But it lasts forever, and it's the up and down. He's like, back in the day, if you were up 3, with 3 minutes left, that was a good, you felt pretty good about yourself. Now he's like, there might be 10 to 17 more points scored in the last 3 minutes. It could, you know what I mean? Especially if you have good quarterbacks playing, they'll go up and down the field like it's nothing. So we'll see. Is there any other game that catches your attention then?
There was one more. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Well, I think
Chiefs Titans.
Yeah,
Chiefs Titans.
That's the game. That's the game I'm going to watch. Can Goff beat the Rams?
I hope he does. It'd be a great story.
Who do you got for Chiefs Titans though? Titans are 4.5 under.
It's hard to bet against the
Shark
Chiefs.
said last week this is the type of game they would lose, the Titans.
Well, the Chiefs are so good. I don't think everyone's the type of game the Chiefs should be.
I think he meant they might, they kind of beat the Bills and upset.
Yeah. It's going to be, I'm feeling it's going to be a good game.
Well, if Mahomes doesn't turn it over, he's been turning it over a ton.
Yeah, he's making stupid plays, trying to do Brett Favre on the Jets, just throwing crazy passes.
Is Julio and Brown playing today?
I believe so.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Titans in that one.
I want the Titans. I know that.
I'm going to take the Titans in that one for sure. Falcons, Dolphins, Panthers, Giants. Man, rough. Jets, Patriots, football team, Packers, Bears, Bucks,
Lions, Rams,
Texans, Cardinals, rough. And then you got Monday night, Saints, Seattle. Tough one. Well, I know I'll at least be watching the Raiders game. Probably, I'll definitely watching the Titans Chiefs. That will be on there locally. That's good.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching that one.
I nailed that.
Nailed that one for sure. Well, I'd say we're thinking about doing a podcast tonight, I think, after the Sunday night game, instead of doing it Monday night because of the Colts Niners. So we might put one out tomorrow as well. Sorry that Casey had to jump off there because the power went out.
It's a little rainy and windy here.
I like how Hada's like, she goes, yeah, we're supposed to get anywhere from 2 to 10 inches. I was like, wow, that's quite the gap there. 2 to 10 inches. It is pouring though for Sonoma County here. And apparently after this storm, we'll still have a drought in California. That's how bad. There's always a drought in California every year. All right, good podcast, T. World Series set next week. We'll have that to talk about. We'll have the NBA another weekend. The Warriors will have a few games. They play the Kings tonight. I'm looking forward to that game at 6:00. I'll probably be so that's good. We got Niners and Warriors. The collector will be going back and forth tonight. We'll have a lot of action on TV. We'll have those. And then what else do we got?
The batteries will get their money's worth tonight.
Batteries is worth as well. I got a couple podcasts I have to check out this week. I got to check out my House of Hoops guys. And I got to finish out my other one with Let's Be Real podcast this week. What are you up to the rest of the day?
Just watching football, setting up furniture. We're moving out. It's gonna
When
be
are you moving out?
The 5th.
Yes. All right, there.
That's when we get our keys.
And you're going to run a park?
Yeah. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, what's your address? No, how many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? What are we talking here?
None of your damn
What's the
business.
size of your telemundo? What's the size? All right, man. Good podcast. Maybe we should get my dad on for a little Sharks call. You know what I was thinking would be a good podcast is if we had Hada's dad on to talk about these 50s and 60s guys. He can
Tell us about Dolph.
Tell us about Big Dolph. Tell us about Charmin. And not the toilet paper. We want the other. We got the. All right, good podcast this week, T. I'll see you next week. Hopefully, we'll have Casey back in the fold.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. See ya.